I would like a new title, but that's how Jerry White refers to me as. So the rat story is we have chickens in our home, not in our home, outside in the coop, and rats invaded the chicken coop. They were just camping out there, and there were a lot of them. And they weren't afraid of my kids. They would just be there to greet my kids, saying, what do you have for us today? And my kids would have to step over them to get to the rats. There were a lot of rats. And my husband said, we gotta do something about this. And he said, I'm gonna put out rat poison. What are our choices? They might be carrying diseases, they might hurt the chickens, they might look to the left and think they'd rather live in our big house instead of the chicken coop. And he said, just forget we're having this conversation, and I'm just gonna put out the rat poison, we'll eat it, they'll go off in the woods, and you're not even gonna notice it's happening. So I would like to choose to believe that the rats kind of collectively elected to migrate somewhere else, but the rat population disappeared, except for one poor rat was lying on the floor of the chicken coop one day, and my daughter went in to feed the chickens, and it was paralyzed, but it could look at her. And she was very upset, and she came running in, and she said, Mama, you're a rat murderer. And she insisted that I go outside and save this rat. And then the other kid's on the internet, and she's like, that rat is gone, or it's doomed, because once they have rat poison, that's it. And so I went out, picked up the rat, brought it inside, and I dipped a Q-tip into some ASEA and saturated it, and I could just put little drips of ASEA into its mouth. So I was trying to heal it from the inside out that way. And then I know that this is really great at drawing the toxins out. I took the gel and I smeared it all over the rat's body, and then I gave it some food too. And it could only move its mouth that day. And I have it all on videotape, little snippets of it. The next day, it could stand. It was kind of wobbling, but it could stand, and I would still feed it by hand. The next day, it got better. It could kind of walk around, and I could just make a little buffet of food, and it would eat independently. I didn't have to hand feed it anymore. And then it was quite good on the fourth day. The fifth day, my husband said, get that thing out of here, because if there could be like a rat circus, this thing could be in the rat circus light. It was just jumping all over. I had it living in a bird cage, because I rehabilitate all sorts of animals, and I'd stuck it in a bird cage. So there was a big perch in that cage, and it could jump from the bottom of the cage up to the perch, spin around. It was completely fine. And so we liberated it in the woods on the fifth day, and so it went from being totally paralyzed to being just fine. And I like telling that story because rats don't know anything about placebos. Yeah. It worked.
And neither do dogs.
Okay, and here are the dog stories. So